Hello and welcome to Weekend Investing Daily Bites. We are going to talk about why long term investing needs no timing. And we are at the end of the quarter, so we'll also review the quarter end results. We are shooting episode number 104 today. The markets were uh, kind of confused last day of the quarter, a lot of pressures, and also the expiry of the week. So, a lot of pulls and pressure both sides. It was widely expected that the market will recover today, but it didn't happen that way, and the market kept getting softer during the day. However, the broader part of the market, the small caps, mid caps, they were reasonably robust, and hence only the larger caps and some specific segments took a hit. Real estate made a comeback. Some PSU banks were up. Pharma was doing very well. Sun Pharma, especially, has been on a tear. Metals, private banks, some IT stocks and auto stocks were in the losing part. For the quarter ended today, you can see that real estate has done 49% this quarter, so a phenomenal quarter from real estate stocks. And IT also has done very well, 20%. Energy has done 15%, infrastructure 15%. So several sectors have done quite well. Metals, which were up in the first quarter of the year, they're still up 41% in 2 quarters, were up 7% in this last quarter. So far, for the entire financial year, I mean, real estate has done the best, and metals and IT stocks are next in line in terms of sector performances. In terms of the indices today, Nifty closed about 0.5% lower. Nifty 200, CNX 200 also was lower, CNX 500, and small and mid caps, as I said, were slightly in the green. In terms of weekend investing, small cases, some of our small cases were up between 0.5% to 0.25%, and 2 or 3 of our small cases were down around 0.5%. In terms of the 3 monthly performance, most of the indices have performed between 10 and 12%, and for the financial year between 19 and 34%. 34% on the higher side of small caps, 19% to rather 20% on Nifty. In terms of weekend investing performances, they have ranged from, if I leave aside NG 50/50, from 3.5% to 23.9%. So there are some hits and some misses. Some of the portfolios have not kept pace with the indices, some have done better. And in terms of the financial year performance, most of them have either done in line with the indices or much better than that. So from that perspective, we are on a good wicket in the year that's gone by so far. So let's talk about long-term investing needs no timing. So everybody in the market, especially when they are new to the markets, are looking for the right entry, the perfect time to start, and so that they are able to buy at the bottom and possibly sell at the top. So let me just tell you that these things are only the game of a magician, and anybody will not be able to, in fact, buy at bottoms and sell at the tops. However, if your overall strategy takes care of the ups and downs of the market, you rather need not worry about the timing in the market. A lot of people have spent the last year and a half waiting for the markets to crack to start buying. However, if they had started buying even after the market had run up 50%, even from there the gains have been enormous. The history tells us that for long-term investing, don't really try to time the market, because once the market starts to move down, like it did in, let's say, 2008, 2016, 15, 2020, once the fear sort of encompasses your mind, you are unable to do any trigger. So while market may be at 100 and you are waiting for 80 to start, when it goes from 100 to 80, you start looking at 60, and so your investment never happens. And then when it bounces from 60 to 80, you get anchored at 60, that oh, I missed this turn, now how can I buy 25% higher? So these kind of mind games will continue to happen. in a stock also, and in an overall portfolio and index point of view also. And it is this entire mind games that we have to basically get over with and perform, regardless of the market movement. So I'll show you in a sample study that if you were to, do a lump sum versus if you were to do a SIP, what would have been the result, even starting at highs of the market. So the major fear that people have is that what if I, invest in the market and I could be at the worst time of the market to be in. And that is possible. I mean, today, with the way markets are, maybe it is a top for the next many years. Who knows? Maybe it is not for next many years. Who knows? So we don't know about this, and we can't really estimate it. Some people can, so maybe they can time it well, but most people cannot time. So the idea is that you should get your feet wet, start to enter, and then as the market gives you opportunity, you will add on. If you keep waiting for it, and even if you get a nice market crash, you will not be able to put in a larger amount at once, because that fear will always be there. What if the market halves from here also? Even if in 2008, I remember market fell down 70%. I don't think if you are new to the market you can imagine that. Nifty fell down 70%. At that point, when Nifty went from 6,000 or to 2,200, it was looking as if Nifty will go to 1,000. How do you invest at 2,200? Right? Even in March 22, when it fell 35%, the narrative on the street was that the world economy is gone for the next many years, so there's no chance. So the narratives will keep playing a game and not allow you to do any timing. So this is just for example's sake, mid and small cap 400 index I have taken. So I have plotted the CAGR returns on this starting from April 2016. So you see that in the first few years the CAGR is very nice. It's at 37%. At the end of first year you are at 22%. At the end of year 2 you are at 38%. And you are tweeting and putting rockets on your Twitter account that see I've got 38% return in 2 years CAGR. And then the next 2 years basically the market show you the reality and brings you back down to earth, and at the end of 4 years your CAGR is in negative. This can happen to anybody, right? So if you came in with a lump sum here, you are in negative after 4 years. Now of course after this entire rally you are back at 18.8%. So you had to suffer a massive drawdown of 50%, which has now been erased so far. So huge volatility, and despite fantastic start, a bad 2 years, and again a recovery from there. Right, now let's see the same thing over a strategy where some controls over going into defensive stocks when the market is going down is there. So here the drawdown has reduced to about 37% from 50%. Here also the CAGR starting was not so good. Then it went to 30, 45, 48%. Then it came all the way down to 10%, and now it is at 29%. So similar story, high CAGR, high drawdown. Lump sums bought in 2016-17 would have given you a lot of pain by the time you had 2020, and so on and so forth. So let's see how breaking up your capital and coming in at any point of time would have helped you. So we have taken an example of 10 lakhs. So if 10 lakhs invested in MI20 and we did a monthly SIP, let's assume that we SIPed at 15,000 rupees, and all these are theoretical simplistic models. So we've not assumed that we have a starting minimum 1 lakh or something like that, but just theoretically we have taken a SIP of 15,000, a monthly SIP. So what you can see is that the blue line is the mid and small cap index, the orange line is MI20, and this is just for reference Nifty, and this is the small cap index. This one is the contribution, the SIP contribution of 10 lakhs. So if you did a sort of a monthly SIP, what you're seeing is that even if you came, at the peak of the market and took this drawdown, the drawdowns were hardly anything. You were at this point on 1st January 2020, you had about 9 lakh rupees, and at the worst point you had about 6.5 lakhs. So about 22% drawdown you saw here. Whereas in the index itself, you would have seen 7 lakhs going down to 5 lakhs. So about 34% on the index. So by coming in gradually, you are reducing your drawdown. But by coming in gradually, are you giving up your CAGR? So if we have calculated the XIRR, and XIRR for MI20 here is at 35.5%. CAGR was 29.73, XIRR is 35.5%. On the index, the same value would have been 21.59 and 18.79. So you are seeing that by coming in gradually, despite the ups and downs of the market, you are not only reducing your drawdown. By reducing your drawdown, I mean the hit that you are taking in terms of percentage at that point of time. So which gives you the pain. I'm down 20% from where I was. I'm down 15% from where I was. So you have reduced your drawdown, but over time your XIRR is improved. Right? So if you had done a lump sum in MI20, you would have achieved 29.73% here. But if you did a SIP over a long period, you would have achieved 35.51% as XIRR. So you're getting best of both worlds. Better returns and reduced drawdowns. This is something that you always want. We can also see on a quarterly basis. Suppose you're not taking SIPs on a monthly basis and you're doing invest more type of lump sum quarterly investments. Again, we have taken a quarterly SIP of 45,000 rupees, total invested 10 lakhs. Here again you are seeing that your MI20 went down from 8.5 lakhs to 7 lakhs, about 20% down here, and your index went from 7.5 to 5.6, so about 30% here. So you are again seeing that despite having a larger period of your money coming in, the equity curve, let me just highlight this. The equity curve on the on your investments is rather smooth, right? There are hardly any dips you are seeing anywhere. Just even the January 2020 blip is also looks like a minor blip because you are constantly investing also, and this rise from 2020 onwards, it would not have deterred you from adding on your SIPs. That is the beauty of adding sequentially, is that you are not really bothered about the consequences of adding at that point. Whereas in lump sums or when you're starting out first, you're always worried what happens if the market falls from today itself. This worry is the main cause of underperformance and people staying away from the market. So my suggestion is, please don't try to time the market. Yes, markets are frothy, but we don't know the future. Maybe it will stay frothy for next 5 years. Maybe it will stay frothy for next 2 days. We don't know. So come in with a plan, come in with your capital to be spread out over time, and don't worry. I mean, if you're coming in with 5% of your capital today and market goes down 50%, you've lost 2.5% of your capital. Why are you worried about it? Even if you come in with 10 SIPs, you are in 20%, market goes down 50%, you'll lose 10%, but you'll make much more than that in the coming years. So if you have a long runway, don't come into the market with a very short-term view on such at least long-term strategies. because they are not designed for short-term performance. If you get short-term performance, that is your luck. That is basically God's grace. But plan for long-term, because in short-term there is no certainty. Even in long-term there is no certainty, but historical perspective tells us that if we are invested for 3, 4, 5, 7 years, we should be able to get fantastic returns at some point of time during that period. So this is the suggestion for the day. Look for having a long-term view on the markets. Don't be afraid of the market. Market is the best way to beat inflation and to reach your goals. Yes, short-term ups and downs can be scary. One can feel a little unnerving, but manage your capital in such a way so that you don't need that capital for several years, and then it won't unnerve you. Right? I mean, embrace the ups and downs of the market. This is the nature of the market, and you need to embrace it. As long as you're staying away from leverage, as long as you're staying away from borrowing and deploying, you are quite all right in terms of putting your surplus away. So thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the video. Bye.